And what inspired Slide? It's like, where's that come from? Because I know it's definitely heavily car inspired, but what's
so it's brand new. This is literally like my next attempt at something, and I kind of like, I'm blessed to have really cool work and like I said, I was just in Arizona with a client. Last year I went to Chicago in October for Nike to do Chicago Marathon. In September we were in San Diego for Nike. Earlier in the year the year prior we did two big jobs. The year prior we did two big jobs for Jordan. And I just do weird random. I have to shoot an interview with Ray Shremmerd coming up.
dope?
I just do weird random cool jobs that fall on my lap, because of my career and who I have access to. But I have too many gaps in between. So it's like I have a lot of downtime. And like, even though downtime is nice, there's a lot of money I'm not making because I'm sitting around waiting for the big jobs. And you also learn that once you take certain jobs at a certain pay rate, it's not worth it for you to take something below that, because then your clients that pay you the big bucks realize you're doing stuff for cheaper and they're going to expect that too. So you'd be shooting yourself in the foot taking on jobs. So instead of me taking on, those jobs or like, and I'm one not to leave money on the table, but not all money is good money, especially if, you can mess something up with, your bigger clients. So I'm just investing my time that I have into something that I potentially could build, which is Slide now. I teamed up with a couple friends, and we've been talking about this for like 6 months prior to us dropping the first video, which was in December. And it was one of those things where we're just like, we didn't know where to start. And like, I'll just start at the beginning of the year. Like, we'll start for like, we just kept moving the date back. And I was just like, man, you know what? I'm just going to do something for Basel. And fuck it, same thing. I didn't have nothing going on for Basel. I'm like, yo, I'm going to lock in, and anything that's car related during Basel, I'm going to pop into and I'm going to shoot it. And that's going to be like my thing. I'm going to call it Car Basel. And I dropped that video, and I'm, I think, at like 30 videos now, or 33 videos now on YouTube in the last 60 days. Which like the people who I talk to first are like, oh shit, like you're really doing it. This is a world I come from. I've been doing it for everybody for the last 15 years. It makes no sense not to do it for me. And then going back to my roots, which is cars, I pulled up in my 91 Fleetwood. Your old boy just saw it. I was in my 75 earlier today. Like, this is very normal to me. This is not like something I have to go look for on the weekend. This is very, very normal for me. This is very accessible for me. If I wanted to be in a different convertible every day of the week, I could do it because I have that Rolodex. You know what I mean? I have that network to be able to do that. And like, nobody down here is really tapping into the car market in that aspect. There's a lot of YouTube guys that like do like lifestyle shit, and there are car shows and they're doing car stuff, but it's more just like the camera's on. So with Slide, it's like, I'm just tapping back into my roots. I'm tapping back into what I love, and it's cars. It's very normal for me. It's not a far reach. I'm not faking it. Like, I know what I'm talking about, And then what I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm being very honest on camera. I'm not a big JDM guy. I'm not a big, like the other day I got to drive a 2025 Maserati Cielo. I've never driven a Maserati in my life, and I got to team up with the new homie Ricky Boada. I always fuck up his last name, and he's a big YouTuber. He's from down here. He's got a huge car following. He's got a big following locally. And funny thing is, like I said, I'm a car guy. I had never heard of him. I had never tapped into his scene. And I found out about him because last year during F1, he did a big hangout in downtown. And I'm just like, I heard about it like as it was happening. But once again, it's like a completely different scene that I'm not. I'm more on like the hood Chevy shit. So I'm learning as I'm tapping into new I guess new genres.
I was gonna say it's like a genre. That's crazy.
Like new genres and new car guys. And mind you, he invited me the same day we shot the whole shit with the Maserati. That Monday was kind of crazy. So I'll just tell you like how weird my days are. That Monday, I did my morning routine with the fam. Then I had just got back from Arizona that Sunday. So I had to go to Arizona. I drove to my guy's house up in Broward. I left my car there, and we flew out of Fort Lauderdale. So I was gonna catch a ride up to Broward to go pick up my car. And my client's office is down here in Miami. He's like, "Hey, I'm down here. I'm actually going back up north at noon. If you want, just come this way and just catch a ride up with me." He drives a Maybach. So I was like, "Okay, brand new Maybach. We get in a Maybach. Go up to Broward." When I get to Maybach, my 91 Cadillac is waiting for me. Drive down in the Cadillac down south. As I'm driving, a mutual friend of mine and Ricky's hits me up. This dude Kevin, he's like, hey, I heard you're gonna shoot with Ricky at Key Biscayne. I'm actually gonna be out on the boat. I got this little speedboat. It's like a baby speedboat. Do you want to just catch a ride on it, like while you wait for Ricky? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. So I come down, meet up with him at Marine Stadium, jump in this vintage speedboat, ride around for like an hour and a half. Ricky hits us up, hey, I'm pulling up. Get off the speedboat, jump in a 2025 Maserati, drive up and down Key Biscayne, just getting content, just kind of shooting shit. Then there, jump back in my 91 Cadillac, drive home, do the family thing, dinner, the whole thing. Then Ricky hits me up and is like, hey, we're actually we're hanging out shooting some content tonight. This is Monday night. Do you want to come out? I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll bring the convertible. Jump in my convertible like at 11 o'clock at night. And then drove to meet up with these guys at Parajungo Island. And then I get there. There's like 4 Porsches from Japan. Like 4 or 5 Maseratis. One of the biggest like YouTubers from Mexico is there. Ricky's there. Larry Chen, which is a huge car guy from LA, is there filming. The dudes from RMC, which is like they sell vintage, basically vintage cars, but like from all walks of like crazy like Japanese mafia shit, like Benzes from the 80s, the 90s, like hard like gangster shit. They're all there. And then they're just cruising. And mind you, everybody's in something European or Japanese. I'm the only one in an American car. I'm in the Caprice.
USA representing.
So it's funny. And then I pulled up thinking like, oh, these guys are like not gonna fuck with me. So I literally park on the side. And Ricky's like, yo, what are you doing? Come over here. So I pull the car up and everybody surrounds the car like, yo, this bitch is hard. And it's like, okay, cool. Everybody's cool. And then once we started driving around and we're just going around getting content for Larry and some of his people. And it was cool, bro. We ended up parking like on Key Biscayne at like 1 a.m. Some motorcycles showed up doing wheelies. These guys were like it was just weird, crazy shit. And this was a Monday. So like how many different cars did I have access to? Just on a matter of like, hey, what are you doing? Come through. Like literally like the speedboat thing. Yeah. Like literally my girl calls me as I'm on the boat and I answer on FaceTime. She's like, just typical Monday for you, just casual Monday. And I was like, my girl's in real estate, so her world is completely different than mine.
Wow, yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, and that was just a Monday, and it's not one of those things that like I'm not saying this to brag. It's just like this is the life I chose, and this is the life that I'm putting effort towards. Slide seems like the most sensible thing for me to do if I want to build something. It has to be something that's very natural to me and something that I can. It's real. I'm not faking it. And then there's like I even said like, yo, this is not my scene. This is not what I'm used to, but I'm learning as I go. Even the Maserati, like, oh, I'm not a horsepower guy. I've never been a horsepower guy. I don't care about it. My shit is low and slow, 2 miles an hour, so everybody sees you. Like, that's my shit. Cruising speed. And then Ricky's like, yo, you want to drive the Maserati? And I'm like, all right. And it's all, we have everything on camera. It'll come out on YouTube soon. And, like, that shit scares me. And it's almost like the drug thing. Like, I'm scared that I'll enjoy driving fast, that I'll fuck around and hurt myself. So it's like, I'd rather just like, I tried it and he was just like, yo, hit it. And it's just like, that shit went from like 10 miles an hour to like 80 miles an hour in like 3 seconds. And I was like, bro, now I understand why people fucking kill themselves in these shits and you don't feel it.
They fly.
Yo, it's crazy. Like that shit is crazy. And it's like the Cybertrucks, Frank from Reds, I'm sure you know Frank from Reds. He was like, yo, have you ever been in a Cybertruck? And I was like, nah, I've seen him. He's like, have you ever felt like there's like a thing called beast mode?
Yeah. It dips.
There's
the Tesla when it hits the...
Yeah, like Plaid, like the Plaid Tesla, like the Plaid edition or some shit. Yo, the only thing I compare that to is to a roller coaster. Yeah. If you've been on the Hulk in an Islands of Adventure.
Wow, it's that serious?
Bro, and I'm not bullshit. I turn the camera on me. People are like, oh, you're like, I showed them my girl, like, oh, how come your boy didn't do it? My boy's driving. He knows what he's about to do. Like,
and he's done it.
And think about it this way: when you're in a car and you're not driving, every time they do something crazy, you do this because you're shit. But when you're driving, you could do crazy shit and you don't flinch because you're in control.
Now, even when you anticipate it, it's still different when you're not driving.
Exactly.
Facts, yeah.
Because you're just like, you're not in control.
Yes.
So even in the footage, you see me like sink into the chair, and it's not me like pushing myself back. Like that's just like the natural, like that's how fat. And bro, these are computers. Yeah. These are computers on wheels. And as a car guy, to sit in something like that makes no noise and has that power is fucking scary.
Scary, yeah. That's
in a good way. But to me, like I said, same reason why I don't do drugs. I'm scared I like it, and I'm gonna want to do it all the time.
It's a dangerous game.
You know, I like my big heavy Chevys and my Cadillacs, and they're big and they cruise, and you know.
It's crazy.
But Slide is that. So essentially, Slide is just me documenting my car journey, and I'm not just gonna do cars. I'm also tapping into boats. So even like shooting like my boy Kevin on the speedboat the other day was like a big part of it. I'm actually gonna go shoot with my homie Chad at the boat show. We have our friends that are starting a cigarette boat company, and we've been shooting stuff with them prior to even Slide being a thought. And we have all this footage, so eventually I'm gonna put them on there, and I'm just gonna have a play on words, bro.
Do they have a name we could shout out? The cigarette boat company?
Yes, Cheetah Cat.
Cheetah Cat. What a sick name. That's
Cheetah
dope.
Cat. So they're OG 80s boat racers from back then, and they're starting their own company now. And you're gonna see them. Like
Any relation to Seahawk racing?
Funny enough, yes. But we'll leave it at that.
Good.
All right, and then
But it's that era. It's those guys. It's that era from it's not the Seahawk team, but it's from that environment. From they were at all those races. They're in those photos in the backgrounds. Like they're there. They experienced that whole thing that we get to read about and see now in documentaries. Like they were all there, so they come from that world. So we've been out with them on the water and testing the boat, like on crazy shit. And it's like they go test it in the Everglades, which is crazy. So we have this crazy footage of like this boat going. When we went on it, we went 140 miles an hour through the Everglades.
I saw it on the canal.
Yes.
yeah.
I said, bro, that's crazy.
So and they go out there and they test them out there just because there's nobody out there. Only thing you see is the speedboats. The water's super flat, so they ride different on salt water versus fresh water. So it's like it's like technical, and then it's just the fact that you're not going to a marina on the beach that has 1,000 people coming in and out.
Right.
And the Everglades is just a couple.
I never considered that, the difference in how the water rides.
And they have, because they're canals, they have like essentially quarter-mile strips, like
straightways,
dragways.
like dragways. That's incredible.
So they go out there and they do it. So we have some stuff there. So eventually Slide will open up to just anything that moves.
I was gonna as I'm imagining, it's basically things that slide, things that dip, and
So and like I said, we're gonna have fun with the name, and we have like all these different concepts for like different like subgenres and things like that are just like a play on words. And we're actually gonna do like in like IRL like hangouts, and like we wanna create a community around it. And the goal is to like, we're Slide hangout in California, Slide hangout in Japan, where like we want to build the community. So like, hey, what country should we go to next? And like, people are voting in the comments, and we want to show up. Like we're heavily inspired by like Hoonigan and Donut and like all these other automotive media channels that I watch, and it's just like, man, like no one in Miami is doing that. And like I have all the technology, I have all the skill set, I have the resume,
the passion. That's key. You
care. And it's something I actually like. Like if I can sit here and watch it, why can't I also produce it and make it?
Yeah.
So like that's where I'm at with it, bro. And this is literally like, this is my next IAE. This is my next, this is my next venture. And like I'm wearing Slide as much as I used to wear my signature on my back. I don't know if you remember back in the days.
Yeah.
Every shirt I wore had my signature on my back. Every single shirt, every jacket. My guy Rudy. Yeah. They would have all the original 12 Hialeah hats that I made before I started making them for sale had my signature on the hat. So there was 12 that exist that have my signature. If you ever see anybody with that hat, those were the original 12, and they had my signature on the hat. And now I'm essentially doing that with Slide. So literally like every other day I'm wearing a Slide shirt because I don't know where I'm gonna pop in. I don't know who I'm gonna run into. And it's one of those things where like, oh, what is that? I literally like look.
Wow.
Like literally,
we need
I'm treating this like I treat like what Derick G was to me in 2006 when I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this full. I'm going all in.